And welcome to another edition of the Tyson Talks podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and P. Bush. How are you fellas doing?
Yeah, doing all right, man. I just want to take this moment. I know we were just talking about it too. Apologize on behalf of all Bulls fans, man. That representation was not the majority of Bulls fans, man. I think that I don't want to call it collusion, man, but that Sean was talking about the camera work, just zooming in. Zoo thinks it might have been an attempt of saving grace for the fans. Either way, it was just an absolute shit show. And yeah, man, tough, just absolutely tough. And the Packers won this weekend, so Chicago is just an absolute shambles. And it's about, I was telling the guys, about -20 real field temperature here right now. Man, it's just been a tough week, tough week.
Yeah, not gonna lie. That game, I was watching it. It was actually a great first half. Bulls hitting 3-pointers. They were beating the Warriors by a lot.
Yeah,
After that conundrum at halftime, they got their ass blown out the second half, man. Got a little
yeah.
karma on them because they got destroyed. And then these ain't the KD Warriors, man. These are the mediocre Warriors. And they absolutely massacred the Bulls in the second half after that conundrum. So, yeah, that game was brutal to watch. Brutal at halftime, brutal second half. But those Packers, though, baby.
Well, like, how about them Cowboys?
Oh, no, how about Mr. Love, man? Oh, I'm telling you.
All we need is love, baby.
All we need is love right now, man. Oh, that dude looked awesome.
Yeah, we was definitely watching the playoffs this weekend because, of course, the NFL delivers usually with Wild Card Weekend, and we had our picks last week, and I want to kind of ask the fellas what was their biggest impressions from the weekend. P. Bush, I'm going to start with you.
I'll leave them to you, man. I know you're going to want to talk about all the love in the world, man. So, man, I think two games obviously stood out to me. The CJ Stroud and the Texans. I mean, I knew Joe Flacco was going to have some turnover and stuff, but man, that Texans defense took advantage. I mean, the Browns couldn't get their running game going. Kareem Hunt did have 2 touchdowns, but he may have had 3 yards of carry at best. Jerome Ford was pretty much non-existent. Sorry, Zoo, on your DraftKings play there, man. It was a rough week for fantasy as well, but man, CJ Stroud is legit. He's got to go in. I know we're going to talk about this later, but got to go into Baltimore and win his next game. But hell of a first playoff appearance performance, one for the ages. And I got to shout out 2 more rookies, man. Rashee Rice and Puka Nacua, man. They are both looking like legit number 1 wide receivers in this NFL. Mahomes finally has a guy that he can rely on, especially with Kelsey kind of on a bit of, not, I don't want to call it exponential.
Oh, he was bad. He had a lot of drops.
He had a lot of drops.
And they weren't like
it wasn't the difference.
It was just unforced drops. Yeah,
he's going to need to make those catches this coming weekend in Buffalo. And obviously, Puka Nacua, man, 9 for 180 and a touchdown, absolutely dominating. Rams really lost that game because they always need 2 of their 3 playmakers to have a big game. Kupp, Kyron, and Puka, and they only got 1 good performance this week out of Puka. That was their downfall. But man, how about them Buccaneers and against Philly, man? 32-9. Jalen Hurts, they are missing, what's his name? The OC, man. Shane Steichen, the head coach of Indianapolis, man. He left.
Yeah, man.
You know what? I'm not saying it's very similar, but the OCs leaving their, younger quarterbacks, right? And having to enter into a new system. I mean, you're asking a lot. That offense was in shambles, other than obviously A.J. Brown's monster year. He did quiet down heavily towards the end of the year. But other than that, they always looked kind of lost on offense. DeAndre Swift, great start, 3.4 yards a carry. They gave that man 10 carries. Jalen Hurts, 250 and a touchdown, nothing crazy. They were able to contain him enough in the rushing game. Had that huge safety call. And once again, man, some of these teams, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Lions, they give up these big plays, right, that can switch games, which is my concern leading into this coming weekend with the Lions. But, man, we saw that. I mean, Trey Palmer and David Moore. Come on, who's playing those guys in a DFS lineup, right, on DraftKings?
Nobody.
But they both make big plays. Ends up being the difference in the game. Baker Mayfield, maybe not the most efficient this past weekend, but he got it done without really targeting Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. That Godwin touchdown was really just to kind of seal the deal in the end. He got everyone else involved, and he still threw for 340 yards. So I'm impressed with these Bucs. They held like I said, Jalen Hurts in check. That defense is clicking. They were flying around that field, pretty much saying, hey, you're not going to come into Tampa and just roll us over. So I appreciate that win from Baker, man. Won me a little bit of money.
Man, all I gotta say, man, NFC East, man. Ooh.
Ooh.
Woo. After one weekend,
Yeah, man.
after the expectations this year, man, like you mentioned the Eagles getting absolutely exposed. Like the games before that, we should have saw this coming with the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
it looks like they looked like one of the worst NFL teams in the NFL in the last couple of weeks. Like, so not glad. Like, I'm not even that shocked of how bad they lost. It's just the body language and everything about off the field issues and coming with AJ Brown out with injury. So and Jalen Hurts came in with an injury too, so he wasn't 100%. But I gotta talk about Jordan Love, man, because this dude, I'm telling you, I told you in the beginning of the year he had some great games, especially against the Chicago Bears. But after that, he had some awful games, man, just awful games. And then this is what the turning point was when he beat those Lions on Thanksgiving, and I was on the Jordan Love.
I wonder who picked that money line.
Oh man, the Jordan Love bandwagon. I was on that right after because I'm like, Detroit Lions, that's a legitimate team this year. As we saw in the playoffs, they won their first playoff game in like 20 plus years, right? So like 20 plus years, first playoff game. So congrats to them. But they beat them in the regular season. My goodness. And what he did to those Dallas Cowboys, man. That pass rush, man. Micah Parsons, man. Thank God I cashed on my DPOY because Jesus Christ, that guy was non-existent, man. That guy was just non-existent. I didn't see him do anything that game. I did not see him do that game. And that Dallas defense is pretty good on the outside. On the inside against rushing attacks, Aaron Jones, man. Oh, this is vintage Aaron Jones. Like, I remember Aaron Jones do this. Like, not like every time he plays against the Dallas Cowboys, I feel like this guy gets like 3 touchdowns. Like, he's from Texas,
he goes
hometown.
Off.
Like, he goes off. And like, you see his 21 carries for 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. It could have been 4. But they're like beating him so bad they put him the backup in. Like, he could have had legitimately 4 touchdowns this game, and he 5+ yards a carry. Like, this dude is the absolute fanatic, like absolute like domination. But the young blood, man, Jordan Love, man, the successor to the throne, man. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. 0 interceptions. His number one guy is Romeo Doubs, man. Now, Romeo Doubs, I don't know. That guy was wide open like the entire game for some reason.
He was cooking.
He was what Jaden Reed had been doing.
I got to shout out Matt LaFleur's play calling, or I don't know who making all these plays, because they schemed some of these dude open. Because I remember this one play with Luke Musgrave just wide open. I'm like all their dudes just wide open. Like, it's like a lot of play action. Well, obviously we dominated the game with the rushing attack and very easy to do a little play action. But Jordan Love, man, and one of those touchdowns in the red zone, I think it was at the end of the game. So like they had it in check, but he just had this throw. That dart between 2 Dallas defenders, and then he just had a look like, oh. I was like, oh, is that Aaron Rodgers? Like, that looked like an Aaron Rodgers.
It was off the back.
I saw that pass. I'm like, oh, that's something good. I'm like, okay, you can make it past an open guy. That's just Dallas defense being dumb and some good play calling. He made the pass. But some of those darts, I'm like, hey, Jordan Love in his first playoff game against the number 2 seed. First time a number
7 seed.
Yeah, first 7 seed. Upset a number 2 seed. So they made some history with the new playoff system. Yeah. He gets it done. I'm just like, God, like Aaron Jones, like Luke Musgrave, like this guy's a rookie too, and he balled out too. He had a touchdown too for Luke Musgrave. Like, this is without Jaden Reed catching a damn football.
Top receiver.
And he was legitimate, probably the number 1 receiver this year for this offense with Christian Watson being hobbled all year. And Jaden Reed had a donut, man. And they were up 27-7. They were,
that pick six was it, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That pick six was it.
And what I saw from Dak Prescott, man, that dude was shook. I'm telling you, man, dude, he is great. He's a great front runner, man. When things are good, you play with
most
confidence.
Cowboys.
Yeah, you play with confidence, man. Yeah. And then if they're up, the defense has to play against more of a passing attack, which they're better at. But when you're down, when you're reeling, I don't know. Dak Prescott, man, I feel like the moment got to him. There's something about some of those throws. You saw some like fighting between him and CeeDee Lamb, the guy who was the number 1 receiver all year based on total receiving yards and touchdowns. They got a little infighting. Like, I was just like, holy cow, like, Dak attack, man. The Dak attack has failed, man. It's failed.
Well, Zoo, I know he had a decent stat game overall. There was a lot of underneath. No, not Dak.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb had all these underneath catches and all that. Jair Alexander didn't allow him to get downfield at all.
Telling you.
I mean,
we gotta understand that Jair might be the best corner in the league, man. I keep telling people, bro.
Michael Gallup ended up gashing quotes, right? Playing down, whatever. That defense more than CeeDee Lamb did. Obviously, I'm not saying they're better, but this is scary if you're playing the Packers in coming weeks. You're looking at Brandon Ayuk having to go up against Jair Alexander. I'm saying I'm supporting your Packers. I think that they have a chance to make a little bit of a run right here. Maybe not win it all.
Let's not get carried
away.
We're playing against the Niners.
Confidence goes a long way.
Hey, I got them in Zoo. It's them and the Texans right now. I think a lot of people are kind of riding high on them entering this week.
Let's not get carried away. Let's not get carried. Like I saw the Cowboys to choke, man. I feel when they were down, they played sweaty, man. Their hands were real sweaty. Like that's what I saw. Because like I love CeeDee Lamb. This guy won me some money this year. He has some drops. I saw some drops that like okay, that happens, but he had some drops too. So Jair Alexander, terrific player, man. Very cocky, but got the talent to back up the cockiness. Yeah, so like he did a terrific job. But my goodness, like the game was legitimately over after 2 quarters.
In my mind, the game was 48-16. I don't care what the final score says. That was the game I saw. Okay, it's over now.
Yeah,
that's when I saw it was a score.
Yeah, like it was an ass whooping at another level. Like it was in like the defense gave up 48 points to a first-time quarterback in the NFL playoffs. Like that is absurd. Like 48 points. This is a team that struggled against the Panthers in the regular season. I still remember that. They struggled against the Panthers.
They did.
So like I'm just saying, like and this is the first time the Cowboys lost at home in like 16 games, I believe. I believe they were on like a 16-game home winning streak.
They were a little cocky.
And the first game they play in the playoffs, they lose. Like this is just so mind-blowing.
Zoo, you know the Cowboys' track record against the Packers in the playoffs, man.
Oh, I know, but they had Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is the reason. Like he took it personally because he doesn't like skip. So when he beats his team, he gets a little. I beat his team too. Get a little extra something from that. So he gets that even more confidence.
Maybe he put that bug in Jordan Love's ear over the past couple of years.
I know, yeah. Oh, the way he performed, man. Holy, like he had 157 passer rating. 157 passer rating.
Almost perfect, yeah.
Yeah, he had a 99 QBR. I believe that's out of 100.
Yeah.
He had a 99 QBR. Like, I think the only time is like I saw him miss like one throw in the game where he missed someone, where he overthrew them. But like Jordan Love, I'm impressed. This Packers, like they know how to draft because they drafted and developed.
Yep.
That's the thing. Develop like Chicago Bears take some notes.
Yeah.
Because Jordan Love,
I agree.
When he got drafted.
You know what though?
We saw some games. He was not good.
Same head coach.
Yeah.
That also helps.
Yeah, that's Matt LaFleur from
continuity.
Continuity. But these are all young guys and like
they're the youngest team, I think.
Yeah.
And I think I said ever or
I don't know.
I don't know about ever, but for sure this year it's them and the Texans, I think.
Yeah. And like it's from like I believe LaFleur, he from the Shanahan like coaching tree. Like I swear to God, all those guys are all pretty creative coaches.
All kids, they're good.
Exactly. And then you got over there, Mr. Mike McCarthy, man, about to get fired. Like
Doc Rivers, man. Doc Rivers.
He's along for the ride.
That's the perfect comparison. Like Doc, I'm telling you, like he always has the nice fat regular season, wins 12 wins for the last, I think, 3 years. That's really good. 12. That's a consensus playoff team every single year. That's actually really, really impressive. But losing in the first round to a first-time quarterback in the playoffs with a bunch of young guys, these are all kids out there. There's zero. You're at home too. You're at home. You can't even blame the weather because it's in a dome. Like I give the Dolphins a break. Like they ain't used to play in cold weather. Like, but the Dallas Cowboys,
we all knew that was going to be the
that was the most predictable thing ever. But this was like shocking because I had the Dallas Cowboys having a rematch with the 49ers in the playoffs again this year, and getting embarrassed like this, they're going to be making changes. Like first that head coach, and then I don't know, even Dak at post-conference.
But we know. But see, we know they're going to change the head coach. We know that, but it's like it doesn't matter. Like because I'm with you. Like, I think you'd sit in the group chat in the Slack. He was like Bill Belichick, and it's like Jerry Jones.
No.
If he were to hire Bill Belichick, then I would think, okay, real changes are happening within Dallas because to me, his personality is a person that is not going to deal with Jerry coming down. Like you said, Jerry is still kind of like, I mean, I guess it's not crazy because it's been happening for years, but it's still insane to me that like I saw on the broadcast on Fox when they were doing a post game, and they have like a bunch of reporters like huddled around like a little bar stool waiting for Jerry. Like he's the owner. Like why does he get his own? Like, and I get it's America's team, but like why does he get so much focus on himself to get his reaction to why the Cowboys are losing? I just think to me that's so counterproductive.
Because
to
he
the
makes
franchise.
all the decisions at the end of the day. So
and
coaching, quarterback, contracts,
and that's why McCarthy's there now.
Mm-hmm.
Because he wants somebody, and we all know this. He wants somebody in there that listens to him, that is his drinking buddy, like Drew likes to say with certain coaches in the league, and a guy he can get along with. He does not want a real football coach in there.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, Dallas, I don't think is ever going to be fixed until I see someone like a Mike Tomlin or Bill Belichick, someone of stature, actually get hired there. Because then it signals to me like, hey, they're serious about actually winning football games. To me, the Dallas Cowboys is about the brand, the flash, because guess what? With this loss, they're still going to be America's team. They're still going to get all the publicity. They're still going to be talked. Listen, they're going to be being talked about. And when whoever's playing the NFC Championship game, Dallas is still going to be talked about, which is unfortunate because that's just how media is. But to me, when I was making my predictions last week, I was like, Jordan Love, I knew was playing well. I didn't know he was going to play that well. I knew Aaron Jones was going to do what he was going to do.
Yeah.
But I almost think the arrogance of Dallas, because I think they won the toss and they deferred. I don't think they even thought for a second that Jordan Love would be able to go down the field twice and drive it on him. And I think, like you said, after I
think the Packers won the toss and they wanted the ball.
Okay. Well, either way, I think Dallas knew like they're going to get the ball. They're going to stall out. We're going to score our touchdown, maybe get a field goal and put pressure on them. And I even think after that first drive, Dallas was stunned a little bit. But I still thought, even though when they went 3 and out, I still think Dallas was like, okay, we're fine. But when Jordan Love came back out there, drove the ball down the field and didn't look phased, that's when Dallas was shook. And you can just tell it's just like when people talk about like the players don't ever read social media and they don't look into the history. Yes, they do. Because there's no reason why a team that has won 12 games for the last 3 years get into the playoffs and flame out in the first round. There's no reason why they should be doing that, or the divisional round, whichever round. There's no reason why. And the reason why is because they hear the chatter. They know the history with Dallas. And that's why I was saying you put any type of pressure on them, they're going to fold. So to me, it doesn't make sense any year to ever pick Dallas. You are a fool. They could go undefeated next year. You should not pick Dallas to do anything because, like I said, they have to prove it, and they can't prove it. They are mentally weak as a franchise. So guess what? Next year, when Dak comes back, because he most likely is coming back, when CD comes back, that is great. But to me, you got to have these come to Jesus moments, as I always like to say, and you got to overcome it. You can't be awarded. And like I said, this year, more than any other year, I don't care what any of these experts on ESPN, Fox are saying. We don't know who the hell is going to win the Super Bowl this year. It is so wide open. Nobody saw what Dallas was going to do. There were some people maybe kind of picking Houston, but nobody saw the beatdown that Houston was going to put on Cleveland. 45. So to me, that is just signifying like, buckle up. This is going to be a wild ride in terms of who's going to actually be in the Super Bowl. Yeah. It would not shock me if any team makes the Super Bowl this year because to me, looking at how these teams are going at it, or how most of these teams are like, I guess you would say fighting and competing for spots, like there's no fear with anybody. They're like, to your point, we were talking about with the 49ers, like they look like the presumed favorite. But like I said, good luck whoever gets matched up on Jair Island. I'm telling you, whether it's Debo or Brandon. Now, the 49ers have extra weapons. They got two studs, and you got McCaffrey shooting around at the backfield too. And George Kittle. Like you're saying. Access. So, and we'll get on that later. But Dallas, of course, Dallas and Green Bay was the game where I was like, that's just it. Like it was shocking to me because even though I picked Green Bay, I was picking Green Bay like in my head, like maybe they'll win by 3 or 6. I wasn't thinking they were going to just absolutely beat them down.
Right.
So then you go to Houston. It's like. You look at Houston, and I was thinking about DeMeco Ryans that entire time. Like, because when you first watched the game, it was turning in kind of to a shootout at first. Like in the first quarter, like
they're
second quarter, it
driving
was
down
turning
really
into a
first
shootout.
quarter.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, I was like, dang, like, what's going on with D'Amico Ryan's? Like, is it just, I know Joe Flacco was doing his thing, but I was like, dang, like, I guess maybe they don't have an answer for how to contain Joe right now. But then, like you said, second half adjustments, things happen. CJ played well. And D'Amico Ryan's was able to put his foot on that defense, or put his foot on the Houston defense and be able to make sure he was able to keep Flacco and the running backs in check. And I got to give props to Derek Stingley, man. He came back on Amari. He came back. I got to give what is he? I guess a second-year guy, maybe? I'm not sure. I think he's
second. Yeah.
Second or third, whatever. But he's a young corner. And he got torched up in that first matchup. He just did. And he came back, and it was going around on Instagram. I saw a couple of the memes going around that he was, telling people to check the tape. And he shut him down. So I think that was because Njoku had a couple of catches, but that was one of the main things that happened in that game. Like Stingley took the challenge and he shut down Amari, and I think that kind of flourished to Joe. Like I said, listen, you had a good ride, Joe. like it's just hard. It's like, I'm not saying it's disrespectful, but it's kind of like in any league. Like you can't be just sitting, and I'm not saying he's figuratively sitting on the couch, but he just hasn't been playing in real games. You can't come off your proverbial couch and just come into this league and think you're going to just go to the Super Bowl. It does not work. There's too many guys that put in too much work to think you can just come in the league and do that. Now, he had a great defense to go into, but as we're to ride with, but as you're seeing in this whole, playoffs, whole new NFL, this is about offense. If you have a dude at quarterback, it don't matter how great your defense is, it's playoff time. If that dude's a dude, as we've seen it time and time again, Stroud now, Burrow, Mahomes, if you got a dude, they're going to change the game and they're going to get the calls.
So,
I'm not getting the calls to make the plays.
Is Hurts a dude? He had a good defense last year. He made the Super Bowl. Not many changes on offense, and he didn't do as well.
Listen, Hurts is a dude. I just think this is.
He didn't look all this year, though. He didn't look all good.
He didn't look great. He didn't look great.
He didn't look good all year.
You know
all year though. All year.
Yeah, all
from
year.
The first game to the last game. I compared
Yeah.
from last year, which was MVP level. So obviously that's a high benchmark. But from game 1 to game 17, 18, I'm like, this is not the same guy.
He was very inconsistent. He was very inconsistent.
I was just going to say that you can actually equate that to the first year that Jalen was without Debo. He definitely regressed year over year. Maybe it wasn't as sharp as a downturn. Obviously Hurts had like 15 interceptions. I don't know if Jalen's were that, but he had a down year. I think they obviously still made the playoffs. They still made a run, but his consistency had dropped, and he was able to find himself back over the last 2 years or so. But it is, and that just goes back to my point. Losing Shane Steichen was huge, especially this early in Hurts' career. I think Jalen had that one extra year or two of having Dayball and a consistent system that Hurts did not, especially coming off a Super Bowl win or a Super Bowl loss. It's just tough to watch. I think having a defense is huge, and it does come into play in a game like a Ravens Texans.
I think what we also have to understand with most of these quarterbacks, because there's 32 teams, whatever. There are guys that are different tiers, and there's like the elite tiers, and then you got regular tier, and then you got kind of just like a serviceable type quarterback, and then you got guys who are just backups, natural backups. But I do think with guys who have shown like the talent, like a Hurts, have gotten to a Super Bowl. You've seen Burrow, he's gotten to a Super Bowl. You got Mahomes, you got Josh Allen, he's a dynamic player. He's dueled with Mahomes. Lamar, you got Stroud now. Like, if you got a guy to me who consistently, by hook or crook, keep you in a spot where you're competing for the playoffs, keep the guy. Because you can't, I think what happens is what people get lost in, and there's a lot of franchises that are dealing with this now. Look at like the Carolina Panthers.
Dak.
That had and like even with Dak, I'm not the biggest Dak guy. Now, I can't lie and sit here and say, oh, he didn't have an MVP type season, because he did. He put up crazy numbers with CD. I can't deny those stats. But in terms of, I've said on this podcast before,
like I said, man,
he put on great stats. He's what?
He's Kirk Cousins, man. He's a nice quarterback.
He is a nice quarterback, but he's not, like you said, he's not a quarterback that you think is going to take you over the hump. And he's, like you said, what evidence do we have to show that he's done that?
He's in that Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, like nice little quarterback.
And so then now you have the question of is, if you have a court, like you said with Dak, he's won 12 games for the last 3 years, correct?
Yeah.
what do you do? Because it's like most fans who are emotional are going to be like, get rid of Dak. I'm sick of it, which I totally understand. Because you look at what just happened this past Sunday, you're like, what in the hell was that? But then it's like, be careful what you wish for. Because the next guy you get, he may take you on a playoff run to the NFC Championship game. And then now he's like, oh, he's the guy. And then maybe the next 4 to 5 years, because he's not consistent, you're out of the playoffs and you're not relevant. So it's like you got to kind of balance. That's why I always feel like if you got a quarterback that is consistently putting you either in the hunt or in the playoffs, keep him, because you never know when it might break your way. And I'm not saying with Dak, he's had a longer track record. You got to bear in mind, he's had a longer track record.
Yeah.
Like with Jalen, nobody should be saying, well, should we move off Jalen? Shut up. No, you should not. Or I'm just making an example like Jalen, Lamar, like, I mean, Stroud's early, like Burrow, even though Burrow get injured, like you're not moving off of Burrow. Like guys that you know have consistently getting you to the playoffs or in the hunt, you got to give it time. Now, someone like Dak, who's been in the league for a while, I can get why it's like, okay, let's just like sometimes you just need a new change. This is totally off topic, but like there's been rumors about like maybe the Steelers should kind of just move on from Tomlin. I agree. Like now there might be some Steelers fans, but like we can find a better coach. Maybe you can. But it's like sometimes it gets so stale. It gets so like, God, we just need a change. We need a kickstart.
Yeah,
but that's a risk.
The coach ain't the problem.
Like, it's a quarterback.
The quarterback.
That too.
Yeah,
Mason pick is not it.
That's a reason why not winning games.
He still had 2 passing touchdowns. He still had a decent game. He brought him back into the game. They were down a touchdown in the fourth quarter.
He tried.
He tried his best
on the road,
but them not having TJ Watt, like we said, was
they had no chance. Who's your best defensive player? Like, come on, like no chance.
But it's just like I said, with the NFL, it's kind of like how college football is right now with NIL and like you can transfer at any moment. It's all this is 1 year, it's like a 1 year basis. Like to me, you got to stay the course on what and who you are as a franchise and what you want to be. Now with Dallas, they got different expectations, so maybe Dak just needs to change the scenery. But my takeaway from the weekend is the league is changing in terms of what we think of good quarterback play is. Now, like CJ Stroud, to me, he's kind of seems like just the anomaly. I don't think this is normal. So in my head, I'm thinking like CJ Stroud, like stat aside, Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay, like, is he the answer? I guess. But it's like you also got Jared Goff, who just got Detroit their first playoff win, beat Matt Stafford, who used to be the king there. So to me, it's like if you got a dude, my overall point is if you got a dude at quarterback, sometimes you just got to ride with the ebbs and flows. I think sometimes we get so caught up in just throwing guys away because they have a few bad games. You can't do that.
Oh, my God.
Because this is not Madden. This is not Madden where you can just get a new quarterback and it's like, oh, we can
Oh, my God. We're talking about Fields, man. We're talking about Fields, man.
I'm not saying it.
Listen, like I said, now we do realize what Fields like. This is so unprecedented that they got these 2 picks. Like,
yeah.
Sometimes it might even be like they made like one
Fields. If the Cowboys had it, if the Cowboys had the first pick,
okay, the Cowboys. Yeah, they take Caleb.
But definitely,
they'll move on. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Reset your cap.
That would be on a trading block like 2 hours after that game if like the Dallas Cowboys had the first pick.
And here's the other thing: they would not have messed up and already said that there was not going to be a coaching change. They would have moved on from McCarthy, brought in a new guy.
They probably brought in Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, they probably
and said screw it.
Honestly, but yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. Do you want me to lead in? Do you want me to lead into this, Sean? I mean, because we got this Stroud stuff, man. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, we can go on the Stroud. I thought you were about to say Fields. I was like, I don't know.
Oh no, we don't need it. We got 3 months to talk about Fields.
Yeah, we got 3 months to talk about
Fields. Dude, but, I mean, because I'm looking at this slate in the divisional. I see one game that is a pick'em. The Chiefs-Bills is a pick'em game. I think you can go either way. We saw how the regular season game went. It was very controversial in the end. Mahomes, right? Wasn't that when he threw his
that's what he started. That's what he
was actually, you could argue that was when the Chiefs started kind of doing a little bit of this towards the end of the season, especially on offense. But finding Rashee Rice in this game was huge in the divisional against the Dolphins. Obviously, their defense absolutely dominated, and I am going to lean the Chiefs in this one just because of and I'm going to lean on it because of the defense. This was a close game. It was 20-17 in the regular season, and I do think that the Chiefs can now rely a bit more on Rashee Rice. They have Pacheco kind of back fully healthy. Kelsey is serviceable enough to give you 8 catches, big 10-yard, you need a first down on 3rd and 7. He'll give you a 10-yard catch. Yeah, he might have a couple drops, but he'll make the big plays. The other 3 games, though, I think any one of these 3, all 3, 2 out of 3 could be upsets. Any of these 3 games. I got the Texans over the Ravens. I'm going to say it. You guys talking about Dak Prescott having 11, 12, 13 wins in the regular season, not doing much in the playoffs. Well, there's another guy over there in the AFC that has had some pretty dismal playoff performances for his team as well. And that's Lamar Jackson. Wow. Has he had an MVP year? Absolutely. Has he been the best quarterback? 100%. Statistically, it was Josh Allen, but valuableness-wise, it was Lamar Jackson. They're getting Mark Andrews back, and I do think that's huge. But I wonder if it's actually going to stifle the chemistry because Isaiah Likely, I would play him in this game. I would not play Mark Andrews. Likely has been a beast.
Go double tight ends, man.
Oh, man.
This ain't fantasy football. You could do it in real life.
You can do double tight ends. No, yeah, of course you can. But you have to put him on a snap count because if you have 2 tight ends and they're just going to think you're running, right, with Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, whatever. But here's the thing that I'm coming down to. And this is the deciding factor, is did that bye week help the Ravens or did it hurt their momentum? Because that's what the Texans are going to be able to do.
All the momentum, man. All the confidence.
They are riding high. They have nothing to lose. They have a rookie quarterback, young wide receiver.
Sounds like Jordan Love last week.
On the road, and it sounds exactly like
they have the same exact QB rating.
and that is what I'm making the comparison to. Is I'm not going to say they're going to blow them out. I don't think it'll be like the 48-16, then a little comeback by the Cowboys to make it cute.
Yeah.
But I do think that this is a trap game for the Ravens. They have had issues with trap games in the past. The Tennessee Titans were on the giving end on both of those. I would not be that surprised if the Texans win this game. Just like I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers beat the 49ers, man. I mean, the Niners, sure.
Me and people is thinking a lot.
Look, here's the thing. It is going to be an unbelievable offensive scheme battle between 2 guys that were friends, colleagues, and students of the game with each other. They are going to try and out-scheme each other. They obviously, they're not on the defensive side, so they can't really match up with each other. But they're going to be giving tidbits to their defensive coordinators, respectively, on what they think the other guy is going to be doing. But I'm going to say it again, and I'll reiterate this. Jair Alexander, and I think it's going to be Brandon Ayuk, Sean, just because he's more of the down-the-field threat. Debo's kind of he's just a Swiss Army knife. He's going to do all across the field. Put Jair, have him shut down the big play. If they can do that, I'm not saying they'll shut down McCaffrey, but he's not 100%. And it's not like Tony Pollard was rushing for, even though they only give him 15 carries.
Let's not compare Tony P to CMC, man. Let's take it easy now. Let's take it easy.
You still give the man 15 carries. He's still a top 12 running back in the league, probably. Not fantasy.
I don't even know about that, man.
He's a top 12 bag.
Yeah,
he's a top 12 bag.
Yeah, he's a top 12 bag. He's probably 12.
Maybe not top 8, 7, but he's a top 12.
Yeah. And they held him to 3 yards a carry. So I'm just saying that McCaffrey, their O-line's great. But the Packers, they're playing with house money. They're going into San Francisco. Brock Purdy has shown that he can have games where he makes mistakes.
Yeah.
And this Packers defense
that's gonna be my point.
Loves to take advantage. They fly to the ball. They're very aggressive. I like their defensive line. Their edge rushers are pretty solid, Sean. I think you shouted them out last week a little bit, kind of going into that Cowboys game. Man, I'm not saying either one of those 2 games is pure upset. But I would give them – I would actually lean more towards the Texans and the Ravens than I was leaning towards the Texans beating the Browns. And that – because maybe I was too high. I was too high on the Browns, I think, and I'll admit that. But I am more confident after seeing – because you just had to see C.J. Stroud's first playoff performance. I mean, how was he going to do on the road? They were at home against the Browns. But now he's got to go on the road.
Wow, that's crazy. You got more confidence? Yeah, of them against the Ravens and the Browns. The Browns, I thought it was a 50-50. This is, I think it's a lot more lopsided because you got the elite defense, but then you got the MVP with a better offense. Like, this is just a better
offense?
They're way better than the Browns. They're way better than the Browns.
Who's a better offense?
I thought you were talking about the Ravens.
I'm comparing the Ravens to the Cleveland Browns. The Ravens are just a better team in all aspects of football.
And I'm not saying the Browns had a great offense, but, man, they were putting yards on teams as of the end. And the Texans defense stepped up. DeMeco Ryans, having a defensive head coach, he's going to have these guys riled up. I'm really excited about this game. I think it's going to be one of the more exciting ones. This could turn into a shootout if Stroud can hit the big plays, man. And they need Noah Brown. They really do need Noah Brown to complement Nico Collins. Robert Woods, I'm sorry, man. You had your couple
he's
years
almost
there in
That's
LA.
too old.
Absolutely washed up.
If
need
they
to get
had
all-
Tank Dell, oof.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So I mean, and then my upset of the week that I think is actually the biggest lock is I think the Bucks are going to beat the Lions. I just think I'm riding with the Bucks again.
Okay.
They have the 30th worst pass defense in the league. The Eagles had the 31st, and we saw what they did without their two top receivers really doing much. I see them feasting. Laporta's back, but he's not 100%. Josh Reynolds did have a nice game, and Amon-Ra's
he
going
did.
to do
He got
his
70
thing.
yards against
But
the
here's the thing.
Devontae did smack the Bucks secondary though, and
He
Amon-Ra
did
might
smack
have
the
an
Bucks secondary.
insane game.
But
That'd be my
Amon-Ra's
only scare.
But Amon-Ra's not a down the field threat, and that's the thing. He's more of an underneath guy. He'll get the yak. He's kind of a DJ
crazy.
Moore in that sense a bit, more kind of the middle of the field kind of guy. But man, what it's going to come down to, if they can't get Montgomery and Gibbs going against this Bucks rush defense, they're going to struggle because I don't want Jared Goff having to run around outside of the pocket. That's a recipe for disaster.
No.
Absolute recipe for disaster. So I have the Bucks as I think they have the best chance. But the Packers and the Texans are flying with house money right now. Not like the Bucks aren't either.
Wow.
But yeah, man.
I think all three of those teams might be all.
I'm
with
gonna
house
say
money
2
right
out of
now.
the 3. I'd say
Jesus! Wow, upset city, huh?
the least
Holy
confident
cow.
I'm in is probably the Packers and the Niners. That's probably my least
I think most
confident
people-
one. But the Texans, man, that offense is just too smooth, man. It's too smooth.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, you got more confidence in the Packers than I do because I'm like, they have no chance against the Niners because I think the Niners are the best team in football. And I've been saying that, like, they had that little losing streak when they weren't healthy. But when they are healthy, this is the best team in football. Offensive, defense on the side of the ball. Brock Purdy just has to game manage, man. Don't have to go too crazy, man. But if you go up on the Niners and force Purdy to try to be a game player, try to come back, okay, now I might be forcing some. Exactly. So if they got to force Purdy to be the aggressor, throw the ball downfield, be aggressive, force him in third and longs. But what the Packers did was this is just a different football team because I had the Niners in a different tier than the Cowboys, even though I like the Cowboys this year. I had them in a different tier. So that test, they passed the Cowboys with flying colors, man, but against the 49ers, like Jordan Love, man, I'm rooting for this guy to have another good game, but I see no chance of them getting it done. Zero chance. I'm telling you right now. Too? I love Aaron Jones, man, but this is the 49ers defense, man. I'm telling you, the Cowboys' run defense was just not that good this year. Like, the only reason the rushing numbers weren't that good was all the teams were down, so they had to throw the ball more. But they have to go with the same playbook. They have to get up ahead early. Like, not gonna lie, I want the ball first if I'm the Packers, man. I want the ball first. Yeah. I want to score. I want to make the Niners to try to come back against them. The same game plan that worked against the Cowboys and the same strategy. But this is you're asking Jordan Love to beat the Cowboys and then the 49ers? Hey. Oh my! If he pulls that off,
franchises.
This is a franchise that owned Aaron Rodgers for the entire decade because this is the only team this dude just had zero chance against. Yep. Aaron Rodgers owned the Cowboys. Remember they play against the Niners? He was awful. And you're talking about it. And this is MVP Aaron Rodgers. So if Jordan Love in his first playoff appearance beats a 49ers team that historically shut down Aaron Rodgers, holy smokes, man! Like this
sounds like they're a Super Bowl team.
Yeah, absolutely. They beat the freaking Niners.
Well, because then if they beat the Niners, they'd be playing the Bucks or the Lions.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Could you imagine an NFC Championship game with the Lions and the Packers? People would be. People would have to be like, "Yo, guys, I know that happened, but I can't talk about this game on the podcast." Sorry, it's not happening. I totally would understand it because that would be torture. Like, Jesus
honestly,
Christ.
I wouldn't even really care, to be honest.
Yeah.
Either way, either one of them is probably losing to whoever's in the AFC. So
I don't know
for sure.
This road in the NFC is tough right now for these Packers. But yeah, I'm surprised how bullish you are on them, man. Because like I don't know, like for other upsets, like for sure. Like I look at this Buccaneers team. Woo! That was impressive. But the thing is, against this Lions team, because that Lions game, they were a PI away from losing the game. Like, just call it what it is. Puka Nacua.
They got
hit in the head. It was a helmet to helmet, man.
Yeah, like Puka Nacua, like if they called the PI, they would have had a field goal and they would have won the game. Like, so.
Probably.
So that was a 50-50 game. The Rams were legit too, because Matthew Stafford was awesome. And his like finger was like broken or something. Like he was not 100%. Yeah, like he was not 100%, but that man was throwing darts. And that Detroit Lions defense, I don't know, wasn't impressive at all. So Baker Mayfield right now get another, like, he played pretty well due to the circumstances of him not being 100% healthy. Like Mike Evans, Mike Evans dropped the touchdown pass. Like he dropped the touchdown pass, and Baker Mayfield still had 300 plus yards and multiple touchdown passes to, as he said, a bunch of random receivers. Yeah, random receivers I never heard of. And yeah, he had no interceptions. So like, against his Lions team, like, can I see it happening? Baker Mayfield leading a team over the line. Yeah, I can see the Lions.
To the NFC Championship.
Yeah, I could.
No, that's what's holding me back.
That's
why I'm not paying the Bucks, man.
Wow.
I just can't. No, I can't.
Baker Mayfield
leading this team.
Lamar Jackson.
Oh my God. I try to see that.
Well, if you look at what they were drafted, most would say, well, that's supposed to happen. But ideally, no, it's not supposed to happen. It's ideally right now in the real world, like, no, that would be insane if you were to see that. But that's the thing that's keeping me back or holding me back. I just can't picture Baker in the NFC Championship. The Lions did show something. They showed something against the Rams.
Yeah, because it was an aggressive, like that Rams team would have been really scary against the Niners. Divisional game, that would have been really scary. So for them to beat the Rams team, even though it was a 50-50 game, I feel like it's their year now. They get all the momentum. You got these speeches afterwards, man. I'm on the Lions bandwagon right now, man. Let's go,
They're
Dan
America's team now. They're America's team now.
I like them. They're very likable too. I got to shout out to my boy, the Sun God. He's won me money, so I'm always indebted to him. So, like, shout out to the Sun God getting it done in his
Aiden Hutchinson seems like a cool dude.
Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson.
They got other guys you root for.
Like Jared Goff. Yeah, no one wanted you, got rid of you. They won a Super Bowl. But mate, this is a second chance opportunity to try to win a Super Bowl for the Detroit Lions. So Baker Mayfield, all you gotta say, Detroit Lions, you better beat Baker Mayfield in this Buccaneers.
You got to beat Baker.
You better beat them.
Because as much as we talk about how great Baker played in that game, the Eagles' defense had been trashed for like the last half of the season. Like they've been really
tackling,
bad.
Man.
They are second and third worst respectively. So they are on the same tier of how bad of defenses.
I don't know, like, and the Eagles.
And yes, 30th and 31st.
That Eagles defense looked like the worst defense in football.
And they have Matt Patricia running it. And Matt Patricia's been trashed since he's got out from under Belichick doing whatever he's doing. So
I just feel like they just gave up. I saw hopelessness. And
they were ready to be done, yeah.
Yeah, they're ready to go to Cancun. Like, I feel like that mentality was like, I don't know, there's some internal issues that we, like, us fans, like, we have no idea what's going on.
I still think Sirianni should get another year. This whole fire him, like, that's just culture now. Everybody's just like, how do you go to a Super Bowl the year before and then the next year he is, and that would be the reason why if he got let go.
And he was a clown talking back to fans. Jalen Hurts had to calm him down after gloating over a regular season win, talking trash.
That would be the reason.
I don't like that. I want like guys on
a head coach.
I want a head coach who's mature, because that spreads down to the rest of the players. Like, I don't like that in a head coach.
So if he were to get fired, and
for that reason,
like they'll never give the reasoning, but like if it was, I think it would be because he's immature. Now, if you're telling me strictly on just like as, you know, coaching ability, it's like he should at least get one more year. But yeah, if they were to say, look, you're fired because you act like a DA on the sideline, like, okay, well then I get it, because like you said, you can't be trolling your opponent and disrespecting
regular
the game.
Season game.
How you do in the NFL? This is the NFL. This is not college. This is not high school. Like, you got to have a little decorum. But
regular season game, man. So like Sirianni, man, like, nah.
Yeah, Sirianni.
He got humble. He got humble quickly. He got humble real quickly, man. Because man, like having staying power, like Super Bowl contenders, man, getting knocked out left and right. But I gotta talk about these Chiefs, though, man. Woo! That defense looks like top two right now. I know it's the inclement weather, but Patrick Mahomes in the cold. I love Patrick Mahomes in the cold, man. That dude is awesome.
He should be. He plays
in freezing temperatures. Patrick Mahomes played like perfect football, man. He was awesome. Like Travis Kelce dropped so many passes and so many potential touchdowns that he had to go to Rashee Rice, his new number one option, because that dude does not drop the football. Like, every time I watch Rashee Rice play, he gets open, he catches the football. Like, and pretty much what Patrick Mahomes has done now is like, I'm going to funnel my targets to Kelsey and Rashee Rice because he doesn't trust the other guys now. Like you see everyone else less than 2 targets because he's like right now it's game time. I'm like I gave Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Kadarius Toney's like no longer like playing football.
Sky
anymore.
Moore.
Exactly. Like Sky like Justin Watson is not. Andy Reid, I got 2 toys. One's a little old, but he still gets open. But Rashee Rice for a rookie to go out and do that, holy moly! I know like the Dolphins defense completely injured, so
that was kind of
it was kind of obvious. Like they lost Chubb, right? Like the defense is complete. Yeah, like they lost everyone on defense. They had backups that they lost, so like they took care of business. But this test against the Buffalo Bills, like I'm a Chiefs future Super Bowl bettor, so I'm nervous right now. I'm real nervous. In Buffalo, Buffalo is a -3 favorite, obviously just based on home field advantage. But I'm telling you, like I'm on the Bills all year. Josh Allen, woo, that was a virtuoso performance in the playoffs.
Yep,
he put his team on his back, man. That was incredible. Like that's why I'm like, this dude's like a top 2 quarterback.
Steelers,
man.
all right.
Okay, yeah,
I want to see. It's the Steelers, and without TJ Watt, we got to relax. Come on,
okay.
Like now, Kansas City will be the test we want to see.
Oh, and you're gonna doubt Josh Allen because I'm nervous. I'm extremely nervous that Josh Allen.
It's a coin flip game.
It's a coin flip game.
First road game from
fourth quarter. Like Josh Allen with that arm and his ability to run and make big plays. Like it could be a 7-point game. The game's never over with the guy with that type of arm and the way that they're playing right now on offense right now because they're putting up buckets now with the new offensive coordinator.
Dalton Kincaid and Knox.
Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. He's spreading the ball more. Yep. Like he doesn't like forcing the ball to Diggs. Like, and that's with Gabe Davis out too right now. So hopefully Gabe Davis comes back. So everyone's like fully loaded on offense for this matchup. That I'm like, okay, give me a game. I just don't want no blowout.
What do you think? What would you think would be more likely? A Chiefs blowout or a Bills blowout?
Oh.
Chiefs, they don't have the red zone ability that they once had. They kick way
too
many.
I'm talking about like, I don't know if you got the question right. Like if the Chiefs were to blow out the Bills or the Bills were to blow out the Chiefs, which is more likely?
Oh, I think you said unlikely.
Yeah.
I'd say the Bills blowing out the Chiefs. Their offense is way more.
That's where I'm kind of trending, but because Mahomes, that's his first road playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
He's never been on the road.
That's why
it's like a coin flip. Even though I believe more in the Chiefs.
Home away, Patrick Mahomes, like he's got A+ like physical traits and skills. His mental is tough. That's the thing. Mentality wise, that's something Dak just don't got that mentality, man. Like Patrick Mahomes is even keel. Like home away
this year,
but his road splits. He has
you're right with the sideline.
He has a better win-loss record on the road compared to at home. That's just his entire career right there. So,
but I would say Zoo this year he's gotten a little bit more chippy.
He's been a brat on the sideline.
He just his receivers suck ass. Like he just catch a day of football. Like run the right route.
This is why I've always Jalen Hurts is one of my favorite guys in the league because no matter what happens, he is the same dude. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes this year has shown, to P. Bush's point, when everything ain't going his way, he acted like you can say whatever about his receivers being bad. You're the leader of the franchise. You can't do that. You can't slam your helmet and act like a brat. You just don't do that. Tom Brady was able to do it, but guess what? He had 7 rings.
Tom Brady did that.
He had 7 rings.
And he doesn't make it okay either, because I bet you Tom Brady, now that he's retired, be like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. But like Tom Brady was just he's a competitor. But like most quarterbacks, you can't do that because it's like you're showing up.
Who gets away with that?
They are.
You know who gets away with that? All-time greats, man. That's what happens. If you're an all-time great, you get away with that. If you're not, you don't get away with that. He's an all-time great.
Who else in the league has won
to prove it right now?
Oh, he does.
He does. On the road.
He has beaten Josh Allen, I believe, twice in the playoffs so far. This will be the trilogy. And if he sweeps them with a team where his offense does not get holy.
And if you remember, Zoo, Mahomes is in a very similar situation with Burrow. Burrow always had his number.
Yep.
Got the win. It might be Josh Allen's time, man. He ain't
it might be. Not gonna lie, I can't even hate on that because I like Josh Allen, and a lot of people hate on him way too much for his turnovers. Then I'm like, man,
that's my problem with him.
I'm good with that. He throw 4 passes, touchdowns, throw a pick. I don't care. I like the aggressiveness.
No, you can't. No, you can throw picks. Don't be throwing them in the red zone. I ain't going for that.
Okay, I'll give you that. Red zone interceptions, whatever. But like if you chuck the ball deep down, go for a big play, and then the defense makes a play,
he's literally.
I like aggressive.
That's who he is. But
he's Brett Favre. More athletic.
This is why I think it's like to your point, Mahomes, or the point I made, Mahomes going on the road, I think is incredible because the fact that it still hasn't happened, and this is actually the game that is happening on. It's pretty interesting because he's going to Buffalo. It's not like he's going on the road to Jacksonville or Houston. He's going to Buffalo. So it's like the weather's going to factor, even though he is good in the weather. The one thing I am interested in with the Kansas City Chiefs is, as much as, like you said, we're looking at Rashee Rice kind of like break out and be like the number one receiver.
Alpha.
To your point, he's still a rookie. So, and he's going to be on the road. Rashee Rice is probably still going to have a good game, but I'm going to need Travis Kelce to be in his legendary bag. He can't even be like good. I think he needs to be in a legendary.
Taylor needs to stay home.
Good luck with that, bro. Good.
She went to the frozen. She legit went to the frozen tundra to see this guy play football. She going to the Bills.
Yeah, she's gonna be in Buffalo. The NFL's
keep dropping him
already. Yeah.
Jesus.
Listen, that's not a conspiracy anymore. This is the reason why he's struggling. If we just want to keep it a buck, it's the reason why he's struggling. Come on, man. Like, come on. We said this in the podcast days, but yeah, it's coming to the chickens are coming home to roost on that one. But I need Kelce to be in his legendary bag when they play because I like Pacheco. I think he'll be able to run, but
he did awesome.
If you really look at both of the teams, like they're kind of similar. Just now, I would say Stephon is the alpha number one. I don't think the Chiefs have anybody like that, but James Cook is running well. Pacheco is running well. You got Kelce. I mean, Bill's got two tight ends. You know how much I like Kincaid. Like they got a lot of options, a lot of weapons. And in terms of just quarterbacks and being dynamic, who can change the game, Josh Allen can definitely do that. He is going against a Chief defense is going to be ready for that. But it's just interesting to me what Kelce does because with Mahomes going on the road, I know he has the home and away record, but like I said, the playoffs are a different animal. And my theory, same thing I had theory with the Dallas Cowboys. Like all this talking about 12-5, you're doing all this. I need you to prove that you can go beat this team. And guess what they did? They didn't go prove it. Mahomes, he's proven he can win a Super Bowl. Nobody's doubting that. But now I need to see you go on the road. You're going against Josh Allen, who's ready to get his get back. I would not be shocked if Josh Allen just tries to go Super Saiyan mode because he wants his game so bad. Because he also knows and hears the chatter because it's this is the dude that is in my way. And I can't now have a situation where it almost looks like the Chiefs are kind of come back to the pack. They're coming to my home stadium. I can't let him best me on my home field. So Josh Allen, like you said, if it's a close game where it's like 2017 Chiefs in the fourth quarter, Josh Allen's going to be doing nothing but draw plays and just running all over the field because he's going to want to win the game.
Yep.
So I think to circumvent that, I think the Chiefs are going to have to get a legendary, not like I said, when I say legendary, 8-9 catches, maybe 100 yards, a couple touchdowns, that type of stat line for Travis Kelce because he's due. He's just not playing to his level. And I know we're joking about the Taylor thing, but it's just he needs to get back on track because if they actually want to go and win a Super Bowl, he has to get on track. I love Rashee Rice, but I don't think they can go.
It can't just be Rashee Rice. It just can't
be him. If it is, props to them, man. Because
then now we got a different conversation about what Rashee Rice might mean if it is Rashee Rice. But and to Houston and Baltimore, it is feeling a little bit, to P. Bush's point, it's feeling a little bit of love in Dallas. I don't have the heart to pick it because I don't know about the same thing. I think it's going on that route because Stroud is playing out of his mind, and I do think he's going to be playing freer. Nico Collins is a real deal threat. They got a decent running game. They're gonna have situations in that game where they can go over the top, but the difference is it's a rookie on the road in Baltimore. That defense, I think. Now he did, like I said, the Browns defense is going to be the best defense he saw all year.
Yeah, I don't know why that defense. That's frauds, man. Holy cow!
But I do think what might shift this game is them being on the road. Now, like I said, if this game was in Houston, I probably would pick Houston. But them being on the road is your first start as a rookie. He's going to be playing free, but the thing about Baltimore that scares you is the only thing that scares you is two things. Is Baltimore, I mean, they've blown teams out this year, but that's not their DNA. And also, I'm nervous about just inserting Mark Andrews and him being in the game plan. I don't want to see any type of stuff where they're forcing him the ball. I don't want to see that because now it's going to mess up the flow of the team. I don't know if people should made the point of likely needs to play and he needs to play the majority of the snaps. We don't need to have a 50-50 split there because if that starts happening, now you're altering the game plan to involve a guy who's been injured and it's going to mess up the flow. And then now you're looking at a game where it's 17-13 going into the fourth quarter and you're down. It's no, you should stay on your blueprint that got you there. And if Mark Andrews can add a bonus, I'm there.
I'd use
that.
them in the red
I'm
zone as a decoy, if anything.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, have him in
If
there. Maybe do a play call where he's like a slip screen or something where he gets an easy touchdown, like something to where it's a misdirection. But and with the Packers, the last thing with them is I do think Jordan Love's confidence is going to be like out of this world. I mean, I know.
Oh, do you know? He was flexing on the count. He was flexing on Dak. You see the last play? Here we go. Like he said, he did Dak cadence at the end of the game to end the game. Oh, he was feeling himself. Yeah, he was feeling himself.
Would you guys rather have him than Brock Purdy? I would.
As my quarterback?
I think Kyle Shanahan would have Jordan Love as an MVP candidate. I know he got Brock Purdy to an MVP level, but I think if the roles were reversed and he was playing for the 49ers,
I don't think Brock Purdy could do
MVP. Let's also take this into account. Jordan Love did get like 3 years of Aaron Rodgers mentoring, which he would not have gotten had he gone to San Francisco.
Oh, yeah. When you were like rookie year, he would have not done what Brock Purdy done.
Jordan Love,
he was very raw. He was a raw prospect. That's what they said.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Rodgers would not have been a great quarterback had Brett Favre not been there, but it definitely helped him. It helped him progress.
Watching greatness always helps, man. Watching them how they prepare, watching them how they do their drills.
Jimmy G should have taken better notes, man.
Wow. Jimmy G.
He took him to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he made a Super Bowl. He made a Super Bowl. So that's not his talent.
I do think Jordan Love, if you take him right now and put him on the 49ers and he had the mentorship and they maybe had traded him at the beginning of the season, given up.
He's what they thought Trey Lance was.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think he's better.
Trey Lance is he might be
a raw prospect.
Sooner than later.
Develop him and stuff.
Yeah, might be thrusted in there sooner than later. But yeah, that game is going to be a Jordan Love game. Like if Jordan Love is playing like how he played against Dallas, then I think the 49ers are going to be in trouble because another thing that's kind of like an underlying thing. I'm wondering, like I guess the last big game Brock Purdy had was the big stage game was the 4 interception game against the Ravens, and nobody's saying he's going to throw 4 interceptions, but I do think the Packers are going to be looking at that as like, okay, what are some ways we can get him rattled because he's not fleet of foot. Like Brock Purdy is the perfect example of a quarterback that has to be on schedule. He has to be on time. He can't be a playmaker. So to me, if Jordan Love is playing not out of his mind, but just playing good, and he's putting pressure, like say they're answering every time 49ers score. Now you're looking at Brock Purdy as like, okay, what are you going to do in these situations where these games are super tight? Because I just feel like I don't know if he has it in him to be in a duel with Jordan Love. I think Brock Purdy is going to be perfectly fine if the 49ers go up 21-0. Then he's going to be able to do all his tricks and be in his bag because he has a lead and he'll be comfortable. But again, like you say, with Stroud, whether it's Stroud or Love, they're both going to be playing free as hell, bro. And like you said, now the pressure, you could almost say there's a way more pressure on the 49ers because now you're looking at the slate in the NFC, like the teams that are left.
Is there an opportunity to make it back to the Super Bowl?
If they don't get it this year, we're going to have a lot of, like you said, Dallas is going to be super hot because they just keep losing the wild card. But we're going to have some conversations about the 49ers. Like, is Brock Purdy the answer? Is Kyle Shanahan that good of a coach? Like, we're going to have those answers because it's like these, like I said, ever since they got to that Super Bowl against Mahomes, like it's been, they've been going.
That's the last year was straight injuries.
They're not been losing to
last year's was injuries. Because I think they would have beat the Eagles, and that was a 50-50 game.
But I mean, you can say the same thing about. I mean, injuries are just part of the game.
But losing your quarterback and then losing your backup quarterback, so your quarterback had to go back in with a broken arm, like he couldn't throw the ball.
So it's like that's why it makes this year so much more important because it's like you got everybody healthy, and the teams that are in front of you are not behemoths. So it's like you got to get it done this year. That was why I was so hard on Dallas because it's like, look at what this slate is. Like, if you take care of business, you could be on the way to a Super Bowl, or at least the NFC Championship game. So, like I said, I think this week, like I say, I've never been a big divisional. Like, just thinking back, and maybe my football knowledge is in terms of connecting the games and the weekends of when they happen. But I've never been a big divisional guy. I've always been a wild card, and then NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. Divisional, I feel like always just gets left in the back burner. But this week, I feel like could be a topsy-turvy weekend in terms of upsets and nothing's going to shock me. Nothing will shock me this weekend.
Really?
Nothing will shock me.
I'll be shocked if the young boy. I know the young boys showed up, CJ Stroud and Jordan Love. I'll be shocked if they pull off another win in the playoffs. He's getting 2 playoff wins, man. As an underdogs, I would be shocked.
Sean, you notice how he didn't lump Baker in there, man. He wouldn't be shocked if Baker beats the Lions. I wouldn't be shocked.
I ain't putting him in that
None of them.
rising stars, man.
No, I know,
yeah.
No, I'm just saying, but I would not be surprised. I'd be the least surprised if they won.
In the bucket. No, I'll be shocked if the Detroit Lions don't get it done at home, man. Because this is their year too. Their momentum, man. Michigan, it's their year right now, man. They're just winning right now. I think on that day when that same week Michigan got it done, winning the national championship. Detroit Lions get their first playoff win. And then, the Detroit Pistons broke their 28-game losing streak, man. Everybody got W's that 1 week, man. Within that 1 week span, everybody got W's in that 1 week for the people of Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah, so the year of Detroit, man. Who
regression to the mean, Zoo. Regression to the mean.
It's coming. Man. The regression to the mean is coming. I see it.
I know regression to the mean against the freaking 49ers, but Bake Show, I like Baker Mayfield. Man, if he gets it done,
career year.
It is a career year, and
he's doing what people thought Flacco was going to do. I think.
I don't know. That Eagles defense is just an
they're a disaster.
So we're going to see them against a real team that's actually trying, and people that looks like they actually like playing with each other. You saw Zach. you saw Jalen Hurts getting yelled at by his tight end. You see that?
I was making that face more so.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was making that face more so.
And the reason why I love Jalen Hurts is he just looked at him like, okay. That is the type of leadership I want to see in my quarterback. I don't want to see the quarterback that's yelling back.
Yep.
What is that going to accomplish? Other people are looking at you. Like I said, there's temperaments to quarterback, and I'm not saying all quarterbacks. Most quarterbacks in the league act. I mean, I wouldn't say they act like Jalen Hurts, but they're kind of in that even temperament. They're never too fired up unless they're blowing teams out. But we'll see. But yeah, like I said, this divisional round, like I said in the past, for me, it's never been the most memorable round, but. It's some potential for some fireworks. So I'm ready, man.
A lot of storylines, man.
I'm
a lot
ready,
of storylines.
And quickly, and this is just so out of left field. Not really, but it relates to the NFL. That whole Peacock crap, shame on y'all, bro. Shame on the NFL for that. Screw you guys.
I got Peacock, man. I got Peacock,
man. I didn't pay for it. I protested it. It's how greedy can you be? It's greed. That's just super greed, bro. That just
it's greedy.
It was so annoying.
This is what I gotta say. In the future, everything's gonna be streamed.
Yeah, it is. It's they're just dipping their toe in it to see how the fans are gonna react. And I'm pretty sure everybody bought it.
It's 100% gonna happen.
It's over. We can't stop it. But it's just I think a lot of us was just trying to fight the good fight.
I was just happy I didn't have to watch Tua in the cold, man. It was just great, man.
I had a bet on KC, so I was pretty happy the entire game.
Yeah. So we'll be excited to see how these divisional round game goes. But make sure you follow us at Tyson Talks _ on Instagram, Quattro Knows on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, iHeart. I want to say we're on Stitcher as well, and we're on SoundCloud. Tyson Talks is the podcast name. Make sure you tune into that. And for me, Zoo, and P-Bush, we are out.